Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Melly. So, chosen ones, as you are chosen by God, you do not have any other option. You have to live based on the Bible. If you are ignoring the Bible, then you're going to suffer all the consequences of ignoring the Bible. For you, chosen one, it's different. It's different. Other people who are not chosen by God can find help anywhere else. But when it comes to you as the chosen one, nowhere else you're going to find a help. For an example, if you consulted a traditional witch for a help, it's not going to work for you. It's going to be the opposite. You're going to suffer the consequences. So as the chosen one, you do not have any other option because you are chosen by God already. So you have to live based on the Bible. You do not have any option of choosing for yourself what do you believe in. No. Your story as the chosen one is just straightforward. If you are chosen by God, then you live based on the Bible. That's gonna fix your life, and your life is just going to be straightforward. So, chosen ones, today let us look on the advantages of having a spiritual mentor. A spiritual mentor is someone who is going to assist you during your spiritual training. A spiritual mentor is not someone who is going to guide you, chosen one. No. The Holy Spirit is going to guide you. All the training is going to be done by the Holy Spirit. Your spiritual mentor is just there to help you here and there based on what the Holy Spirit is doing during the training. Hope it's clear. You have to understand that before you start your spiritual training with the Holy Spirit, you look at things based on the eyes of the world, right? Yes. So during your spiritual training, that's where Jesus is transforming you. Your mind is going to be completely transformed. So you start looking at things based on the spiritual eye. That's what the book of Romans chapter 12 verse 2. Yes. Romans chapter 12 verse 2. That's what is saying. You have to be transformed. So you start looking at things using the spiritual eye. After you have started your spiritual training with the Holy Spirit, just immediately after, at that point, your mind is not yet completely transformed. You are still judging things based on the worldly eye. And devil is not going to wait for you to transform and being able to judge based on the spiritual world. Devil is going to tempt you. That's where your spiritual mentor enter. That's point number 1. You have started your spiritual training and you are still judging based on the worldly eye. Then your spiritual mentor, surely your spiritual mentor must someone who is older than you spiritually. Your spiritual mentor is able to judge based on the spiritual eyes. For an example, in my case, I have started my spiritual training, and then just immediately after started, devil tempted me. And I fell into the temptation. I was judging the temptation based on the worldly eye because my mind was not yet transformed to judge things based on the spiritual eye. But then my mentor was next to me. She showed me another page that, okay, you can judge it this way, but then there is this another way. This is what is happening on the spiritual world right now. You see, your spiritual mentor must be able to explain to you when you are encountering the temptation that as much as you look at this temptation with the worldly eye, okay, but then this is what is happening on the spiritual world. And you, chosen one, because it will be at the beginning of the spiritual journey, you are not going to be aware of what is happening on the spiritual world. You see, chosen one? Yes. And then your spiritual mentor is going to help you to understand what is happening on the spiritual world. That's point number one, where the spiritual mentor is needed. Let us look on point number two, why the spiritual mentor is useful. So chosen ones, there is this other person I am mentoring. At the beginning of her spiritual journey, she told me that she is experiencing fear every time she is praying. She is having fear. She feels as if there is something that is standing behind her, or something is going to beat her. You see, chosen one? Yes. So that's where also your spiritual mentor enters. Your spiritual mentor is supposed to quote the Bible verses to fight against the spirit of fear. And then if your spiritual mentor is having some prayer points, then your spiritual mentor must give those prayer points to you. So you read the Bible verses your spiritual mentor has quoted for you, and then you pray. If maybe the fasting is needed, your spiritual mentor is going to tell you that you need to fast maybe for 3 days. You read these Bible verses, you pray, and these are the prayer points, you see, to fight the spirit of fear. If it's stubborn, maybe it's persistent, even after you have done what your spiritual mentor has told you, and then you're supposed to pray with your spiritual mentor. Yes, you're supposed to pray with your spiritual mentor. If you are far, you are praying with your spiritual mentor over the phone. You are fighting against this spirit of fear, because you are not going to be able to continue with your spiritual training while you are experiencing the spirit of fear. Yes, that's point number two, why the spiritual mentor is useful. Let us look on point number three, why the spiritual mentor is useful. The spiritual mentor, chosen ones, let's say maybe you are in danger and your mind is not yet fully transformed. Then the Holy Spirit is going to be able to communicate with your spiritual mentor about the danger that you are in. You see? Yes. Let's say maybe your spiritual mentor comes to you, and then she tells you that there is something wrong. The Holy Spirit told me 1 and 2. Maybe because in that point, after starting your spiritual journey, you are stubborn, chosen one. I don't want to lie. You are stubborn. You want to judge things on your own way. Maybe you don't agree with your spiritual mentor, because it's not the case that you will agree every time with your spiritual mentor. You have to discern. Everything that your spiritual mentor is saying, you discern. If is this the truth or what? You see, chosen ones? Yes. maybe I was stubborn, chosen ones. I didn't want to agree with my spiritual mentor when she was telling me what the Holy Spirit has told her. And then while I was still in that danger, my spiritual mentor went back and prayed that, Father, this is your child and she is still new. She doesn't understand anything about the spiritual world. Can you please help her to discern? Can you please help her to differentiate and know that what is she doing is dangerous? She's supposed to step back, because now, as I am her spiritual mentor, I have tried to convince her. I have tried to make her look things based on the spiritual eye, but then she doesn't understand. Then your spiritual mentor now is praying for you. Actually, she is interceding for you. And then not so long, you're going to develop the spirit of discernment. You're going to be able to differentiate, because now your spiritual mentor has prayed for you in private. That's how I came back. That's how I came back. My spiritual mentor prayed for me in private. That's the third reason why the spiritual mentor is useful. Let us look on fourth reason why the spiritual mentor is useful. Your spiritual mentor is useful for the interpretation of dreams, chosen ones. God speaks in dreams and visions. And when you have just recently started your spiritual training with the Holy Spirit, you're not going to understand all the dreams and visions. There are things that are going to happen. There are gifts that you're going to experience on how to communicate with the Holy Spirit. And sometimes you don't know what is happening, but when you explain to your spiritual mentor, she is going to be able to explain for you that this what was happening. You see, chosen one, yes, in your dreams and vision, you see, maybe you're going to see the symbols, just the symbols, maybe without the word. Sometimes there can be a voice sometimes. Then your spiritual mentor is going to help you to interpret the dreams. Yes, she's going to help you to interpret the dreams. And there are things that you have to elaborate, to focus on when you are interpreting the dreams. You see, like colors, numbers, the mood, how were you feeling during that dream. You see, there are a lot of things you're supposed to look when you are interpreting the dream. So when you are new with your spiritual training with the Holy Spirit, it's not going to be easy for you, chosen one, to interpret the dreams on your own. Yes, there are things you have to consider. And you interpret them based on the Bible. You do not just interpret. Your spiritual mentor is going to assist you also with that. Yes, I think I have highlighted the most important duties of the spiritual mentor. Another thing, your spiritual mentor is going to be able to know. You see, when you are old. When you are old, you are able to assist properly, because there are stages in the spiritual training. There are stages you're going to encounter. Your spiritual mentor is going to be able to tell you that now in this stage you have to expect this. So when the Holy Spirit is on that point, then you already know that, okay, this is another stage. My spiritual mentor was able to tell me that now you're going to start a new page. Expect for a new page now. You are done with the step 1. Expect the next step now. The next step is going to be this and this. You see, when the Holy Spirit is taking me to that step, and then I come back, I tell my spiritual mentor, she'll like, yes, I told you that the next step is this. You go with the step you have just entered, the new step, and then your spiritual mentor must be someone who's going to be able to tell you that now you are approaching the end of the second step. You are about to start the third step. The third step is going to be like this and this and this. You see? Yes. There are points on the spiritual training where maybe, as I explained in my previous video, that I was not allowed to write the exams, because it was revealed in the revelation that I do not have money, and I didn't know what was happening. I was stuck. My spiritual training was not continuing. I was stuck in one place. Every time I see myself, I'm just stuck because I do not have money to write the test. And then I told my spiritual mentor. My spiritual mentor told me that you have to give to the poor. You have to give to the needy, to the widow. You go to church. You give the offering. You see? Yes. Your spiritual mentor is there for such things. Thereafter, after I have given to the needy, my spiritual mentor used to advise me that you have to give to someone who is needy. I advise you to find someone who is in need, and then you give to that person. I did as she said. Thereafter, I was able to continue with my spiritual training. You see, chosen ones. Yes, that's another need of the spiritual mentor. Now, let us look on how to find a spiritual mentor. Because I am aware that our spiritual journey are different. They are not the same. I grew up with the spiritual battles. Throughout, from the beginning, even now, I am fighting. There are other chosen ones who didn't experience even one battle on the spiritual world. Those ones mainly are those who are coming from the families of the believers, those who came before them. They won the battles. Now they are no longer experiencing the battles. And then there is you, chosen one, who is coming from the family of the unbelievers. You have to expect those battles. You have to expect. So, chosen one, when you are going to experience the spiritual battles, your mentor must be someone who is raised through the spiritual battles on the spiritual world, because that person knows the language of being violent against devil on the spiritual world. You see? Yes. You can't be a chosen one who is experiencing the spiritual battles, but your spiritual mentor didn't experience the spiritual battles. You see? Yes. It's better when someone who is not going to experience the spiritual battles during the spiritual training, it's better when that person is being trained by someone who experienced the spiritual battles than you, chosen one, who is going to experience the spiritual battles being mentored by someone who didn't experience the battles. I think I make sense. Yes. The Holy Spirit gives the spiritual mentor. It's not guaranteed that when you are on your spiritual training, then your spiritual mentor is going to be someone who is in your church. It's not guaranteed. Maybe in your church, there might be even one person who is suitable to mentor you. We listen the Holy Spirit, chosen one. We listen the Holy Spirit. Holy Spirit is the one who is going to give you the spiritual mentor. That's how I found my spiritual mentor. The Holy Spirit led me to my spiritual mentor. You do not choose based on the eyes, chosen one. You do not choose based on the eyes. You know, chosen ones, there are disadvantages when you are choosing your spiritual mentor based on the worldly eye. When you are weighing them based on what do they have in this physical world. Because it's not like everyone you see in your church is believing in Jesus Christ. Some people, they might be there in your church while they are witches, you see. Yes. So if you judge based on the worldly eye, you're going to experience the problem. Let's say maybe you are selecting someone who is a witch, but that person is in your church. You chose that person based on the eyes, on the worldly eye, and then surely you're going to move backwards. Chosen one, you know, witchcraft is when someone is using another spirit to break in the spiritual storage that you are securing on the spiritual world and steal. So this person is not going to really help you. Instead, this person will drag you backwards, chosen one. This person is not going to assist you with anything. The only spiritual mentor you can trust, you can rely on, is the spiritual mentor that the Holy Spirit has given to you. Yes, if the spiritual mentor is needed, the Holy Spirit is going to give you the spiritual mentor. Yes. I know some people found me here or on YouTube, and then they reached out. Those who are being directed by the Holy Spirit. Yes, as we are people, as we are the chosen one, we discern. You know which person is right for your training, which one is not right for your training. Some people are going to be directed with the Holy Spirit to me, as others already did. You see. But then not everyone is going to be directed to me. There are other children of God who are honestly serving God. Then the Holy Spirit is also going to use those people. I'm just availing myself So if the Holy Spirit is directing you to me, then you have to find me. That's it. Otherwise, you don't choose based on the eyes. You wait for the Holy Spirit to direct you to that spiritual mentor that is suitable for your spiritual training, because your spiritual training might not be the same as mine. Let us stop, chosen ones, for today. We'll continue next time. Thank you for watching. Bye.